Hey, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Current blood sugar is 5.7. Calibration is still strong. I have no active insulin. I have basal rates going, but no correction value for a while. You see no blue lines for a while. I was up at 7.8 earlier and have come down to 5.7. Time in range, 96%. 3 above 10 millimoles per liter, which is acceptable. You want less than 4. So we got there. Here we're at 96% in range. 1% yesterday was below. I don't know where that came from. It just kind of, hey, I'm here, I'm low. Average sugar is 7.8 millimoles per liter. And that's where I sit so far. Next, get that, I don't know what that was. Next, I want to talk to you about doctor's visits. I'm not going to tell you anything more. It's going to be a little shorter introduction then, isn't it? I'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Time and range, medications, advice, all comes from seeing your doctor. And you would have to see your doctor on a pretty regular basis. But is that all? Are you just to go to your doctor to say, hey, I'm here, yeah, everything's going great, and leave? What good is that going to do for you? That's what we're going to hear for. First of all, most diabetics should see their endocrinologist at least twice a year. I myself, it was over a year between my last 2 visits. However, he has followed me. I've contacted him a number of times. So it wasn't like I was sort of out on my own. A diabetic should never just be out on their own without any sort of medical outlook. And why? Oh, I could take care of it all. Well, the problem is things change so easily, and we don't necessarily always do things the best way. And it's always good to get medical views on things. I can tell you, and after I had an upsetting visit with my family doctor, I left him. I didn't really see a doctor for, I'd say, about 3 years. And I just kept doing my own thing. I went to live in Edmonton for a year. I didn't see a doctor then. I wasn't the model diabetic. Let's just say that. When I settled back into Vancouver, excuse me, there we go, I started seeing doctors again. I kind of saw a doctor when I was at school, but didn't really pan out well. He didn't sort of say, okay, well, now you're ready to go to a regular. I was seeing a pediatrician at the time. So I never really kind of knew what an endocrinologist was. Sorry. I had to get my pump doing its thing. I went from not seeing anyone about my diabetes to seeing someone pretty regularly. I have had a few endocrinologists over the years. I've had Dr. Whitelaw, who I don't believe is practicing anymore. I had Dr. Hunt, who is a well-known diabetes endocrinologist. I had Dr. Tildesley. I had Dr. Clarissa Wallace. And I have Dr. Shu. So I've had 5 doctors. Granted, Dr. Wallace was like 20 years. And it pretty well was every 6 months. Now, if you find you're doing everything and you're sort of like the model diabetic and all your blood sugars are in line, if you come out and ask any diabetic, well, should you go see an endocrinologist? The answer would be, no, I don't need to. I'm doing fine. Well, you're not really. And as such, you need to make sure that any questions get answered and you get it from the right source. We have this device, these devices that all show that you can get information at a drop of a hat. Unfortunately, while there's a lot of good information out there, there's a lot of sketchy stuff. So you want to have that dialogue where you can ask questions. Second of all, you want to make sure you're getting as tight as control as possible. What is safe for you to do? What is safe for me may not be safe for you, and vice versa. You need to ensure the medications you're taking are working for you, whether, I don't care if you're type 2 or type 1. Any new information that's coming down the road. I saw my doctor twice a year when I was going through an education center, and I saw my diabetic nurse probably 3 times during a year. And face it, I wasn't the easiest, and I still am not the easiest diabetic to follow. But when I go, I make sure that all my records are done. I've done what I'm supposed to. Does that mean I do my blood sugars 4 times a day all the time? Of course that means that. But any information I have which can lead into discussion will help. You're being truthful. I have said this so many times. It is important that you are truthful with your doctor during your visit. Asking, well, how's your blood sugar control been? Oh, it's fine. I'm just wonderful. Well, chances are they've heard that before. They could take a hemoglobin A1C. If you're on the pump now, the pump reports on how well time and range is. And a lot of times, it will be, oh well, my time and range sucks. They're gonna yell at me. I'll just say I forgot my pump that day, or be truthful. Yes, I forgot to wear my pump that day. I went to the drugstore, got insulin, and used it. He could probably come up with a safer alternative for you. Be prepared for a frank discussion. Now, gone are the days where the patient's feelings about their diabetes and what they're doing holds no water whatsoever. We have reached a point in most diabetics' lives where they can have an open discussion about their diabetes. In fact, with my diabetes team, my nurse and my doctor, and even the dietitian here, I can say anything frank and be ready to go. That's part of the visit. The last point of the visit is that I will ask questions, not well, I'd be going high this day. Why? It's kind of like, well, I hear the new drug XYD is coming down the market, which will cut down insulin. Is this? Sorry, I got interrupted there. But one of my endocrinologists, Dr. Tildesley, I was I was a young man, but I was stubborn. I sort of wanted independence. I was going through an era where I didn't want anyone to tell me what to do. So he came and said, I want you to ask me at least 2 questions every time we meet. Okay? And it's your job to try to stump me. I don't think I ever stumped him, but I did. I've done this a number of times with a number of doctors. I do it with my diabetic nurse. I will ask her questions, but I know the answer a lot of times, so I could test her on it. And it's not as a mean, but it's just to gain more insight. You know, we read things online and we think we know it all. No, you don't know it all. So here are some steps you should be doing before you go. First of all, make sure all your numbers are in order. And what I mean by that is if you're using the pump, that you've had it hooked up, that you're utilizing any of the things that have been ordered. If you're trying out new techniques, you have a full rundown. You're saying what's working, what's not working. You review your blood sugars. And I say that we all have weirdo blood sugars, but you will sometimes want to look at it and say, okay, I remember that day. That was because I forgot to take my insulin in the morning and took a little extra and I crashed. Be honest. Get your questions ready. Now, when I say get your questions ready, there's one of two types of questions. There's the one general about your diabetes. Then there is also questions that you need to ask your doctor that encompass diabetes knowledge, period. And here's one that you can write your answer down below. Is dawn phenomenon real? Write it down and we'll review it in the future lesson, talk, whatever you want to call these things. So see your doctor twice a year or whatever he or she recommends. Keep those appointments, they're important. And with that, have a super day and we'll talk again soon. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.